95 USDM legacy wagon, but it's right-hand drive because it's a postal model. Next here, we got the 93, just a US spec 2.2 5-speed Subaru Legacy wagon. Had it since 2008. Let's see, I've got the 2.2 closed deck in it, the turbo engine, and got a bunch of work done to that. Got it wrapped in camouflage, of course. Got the booty wheels on there now. But next we got the 240. This is a 1990 240 SX. Has 89,000 miles on it. It's originally an Arizona car. It's really rust-free and straight. You know, sun's taking a little bit of toll on it, but we're getting it nice again. So that one's in the works. All stock. Got some drop springs. Got the stock K single cam. It's the green, the seafoam green and gray two-tone. I love that color combo. Currently getting some panels fixed and painted. Just got the engine in, running, cleaned up, getting everything back together. Yeah, should be a cool one. This one here, it's a 92 Civic sedan, white tan interior. This thing does have 200,000 miles on it, but it's a beaut. It's all original, unmolested, super straight, rust free. I don't know, not a thing wrong with it. Needs hubcaps. Sorry, it's all dirty right now, guys. I've been
man, the clear coat on this thing. Like, I don't think I've ever seen factory clear coat in Arizona.
It's clean, man.
This
I don't
good.
know what happened, but this one escaped the sun, luckily. Last but not least here, the 1969 Toyota Corona. Awesome little car. I did a 21R out of a forklift in Japan, I was told, run on propane. That's the story I got. It was sitting under a buddy's bench. Who knows? But this is an awesome little car. It's all really straight. It's been painted like 3 different colors, so we're kind of going after the patina look right now. But you know, one day maybe some paint and body work to complete it, make it superb.
What's up, everyone? Thanks for tuning in. So this is a little different because we're not in the Asian garage, we're in the Smiley garage. So for those of you guys that don't know, he's one of the first guys I've ever met here in Arizona, Mojave County, that actually, like, I kind of got into with the whole car scene stuff. So, like, first car I've ever been to, first, like, you know, car rep I met that took interest in my car, that makes any sense, back when I had the hatchback. So he just started a YouTube channel. He has a lot of cool knowledge and background into a whole bunch of stuff, and, like, as of right now, he's sitting on a whole bunch of cars he's trying to rebuild. Some of them he's hoping maybe trying to sell. So if you guys are interested in it, here's the guy. So
Smiley, how's it going?
Without further ado, oh yeah, here's the funny part. I've actually never said this on this channel. Now I'm thinking about it. So, what's your name?
My name, my government last name is Smiley.
And what's your first name?
First name's Justin.
Okay.
Like his.
So my first name is Justin. So it's kind of weird. There you guys go. Because
Yep.
I know a lot of you guys have been calling me Asian out in the comments, which I don't really care. I mean, it's cool, but
You kind of look like AZN.
Yeah, AZN.
Yeah.
Arizona.
No. The Street Outlaws.
Oh, I've actually had, dude, when I was in Bullhead City, I had a lot of guys look at me like, dude, are you farm trucking Asian? I'm like, what? Because I never heard of them before. So
yeah,
like,
hey, I can see it.
Like, what do you mean farm trucking Asian? They were showing me YouTube videos. I'm like,
okay.
I guess I kind of look like that guy, but yeah.
Do I look like farm truck?
Yeah, right? All right, so.
We got a list of questions
Got
here.
a list of questions.
All
Putting you on the spot, buddy.
All right.
So, what's your background?
Let's see. Man, I grew up in automotive. My dad was parts manager worked for a Porsche Toyota dealership, reconditioning interiors, things like that, cleaning, detailing, stuff like that when he was a kid. Drove his first car, his very first car off the showroom floor. It was like a 74 Corolla SR5. Yeah, purple one, 5-speed. Didn't know how to drive stick. Learned on the way home.
Off the showroom?
Yep. Had my grandfather, his dad, had a buddy over there, and he says, hey, my kid doesn't know how to drive a stick, so why don't you help him out on the way home? So that's what they did, and dad always was really good with credit and everything, even younger. So buying new cars off the lot, smoking the Bandit, Trans Am,
oh, nice.
custom vans, and Little Red Express truck, stuff like that, if you guys know what those are. But just really cool stuff. Of course, growing up, I always had cool cars. A lot of Corvairs. He was the president of Corvair Club back in Massachusetts for a number of years.
Whoa.
So I grew up with those. Those are really cool too. Look them up if you don't know about them. Just everything. Didn't really get into the Japanese thing. Oddly enough, my dad was born in Japan on a U.S. Air Force base. My grandfather served, so made his way to the States, gained citizenship, all that stuff like that when he was like 2. So didn't really get into the Japanese stuff until kind of I got a little bit older and started. My first car was a Ford Taurus SHO.
Show?
Yeah, show, man. Like it was,
That's awesome.
it was awesome, dude. I drove that for a couple months, so that blew Bob Mend out of it. Give a kid a first car with 235 horse, that's good luck.
Yeah.
So I was racing I was M3s, I was pissing them off. And then I lived in New England, so I had to have a winter car, so cheap old Subarus. That was the thing to do. So buying those for a few $100, just kind of cycled those and whatever. Then I got my first RX-7, black 91 NA. That was black on black. That was an awesome car, super awesome deal on it. Got the itch for the rotary thing and ended up getting a Turbo 2 RX-7 in '88. And that thing was bananas. It was like 350 horse, super light chassis. It was like 2,700 pounds, even with like leather interior. But that thing was a monster. Of course, for par with me, blew that up in like a week. Apex seals sent them out the exhaust. Throwing like 3-4 foot flames out the exhaust.
Oh, a rotary? I thought those things were reliable, man.
Oh no, they're super reliable. Yeah, definitely. Rotaries are cool and everything, and I love the FC platform. It's probably my favorite of the rotaries. But
I was
high maintenance, and you got to pre-mix and just you got to baby them, and you got to really you have to want to own a rotary car.
Yeah, I was just listening to I don't know if you follow HP Academy.
Yes.
Okay, yes. He was interviewing a guy who built a Drift FD.
Yeah.
And he kept it rotary, and I'm like listening to it, and it's like, you have to love rotaries.
Mad Mike.
The guy that he pitted for Mad Mike.
Okay.
Yeah, I forgot his name. I know he's been on like Donut Media and stuff like that, but. Okay. No, he like went in depth on all of it, and it's crazy where, we can go on a huge tangent here, but like as far as even the Apex seals, he was like, that's kind of like the least of your problems. If like everything else is like squared away,
you gotta have the support.
Like that's the least of your problem. And he was even talking about even all upgrading of like Apex seals from like going from ceramic to like steel and the pros and cons of all that.
Fiber, and they're doing crazy stuff.
Dude, I'm listening to this.
Rob Dahm, he's doing the quad rotor.
Mm-hmm.
Sick.
Yeah.
So on the defense, I bought the car. It was like a graduation present for myself. I paid cash for it. It was like $5,000 at the time, which was a lot of money for a 17-year-old kid. Washed cars and mowed lawns and everything to get there. Of course, I had a job as soon as I could possibly get there after school. But
you kind of needed one.
Sure.
Well,
if you're gonna be in the car thing, definitely. But bought that for myself. I flew out. My girlfriend and I flew out to Kentucky. I bought it off eBay. I won it on eBay, and I flew out to Kentucky to get it.
You bought a car on eBay?
Bro, I did. For $5,000. Yeah.
I never knew that.
It was scary. It was common back in the day. I bought a motorcycle, my first motorcycle, a Ninja 500 off eBay down in Florida. Oh yeah. Yeah, anyway.
What?
Yeah, it was back in the day, dude, 2000, 3, 4, 5.
Dude, I'm like scared to buy stuff on Craigslist now.
Oh, I know. I haven't been on Craigslist for years, but so that car, it was running like a Super AFC, and a fairly fat tune, but it was tuned for Kentucky. So when I drove it home to, we'll say Boston, it needed tuning. Mm-hmm. And so me, wet behind the ears, think I can do everything at 17, 18 years old. I'm like, I'm going to tune this thing in my garage. So like me and a couple buddies who like maybe knew a little bit more than me were in there trying to figure it out. And I remember literally standing in the garage. It was so thick with fuel in the air. Like we were all like eyes running and coughing and all this. It was dumb. And then, like the next day I took it out like for a Friday night, do the Friday night car thing around town or my small little town. And, just coming up on like GT Mustangs and stuff and just blah, 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 fire up and just,
that rotary, yeah.
Nobody wanted it, dude. Nobody wanted it.
What year was this?
That was in, let's see, 2000, I graduated in 05. So that would have been like summer 05.
Okay.
So,
dang, I was like.
And then like the next day I blew the car up. Like it wouldn't start. It was fat rich. Like, yeah, I knew something was wrong. And I was actually supposed to go to an FD event, a Formula Drift event in Wall, New Jersey with my friends. And we ended up taking 2 Subaru wagons with like 6 of us, 8 of us, and just packed and bombing down there about 5 miles outside of town. Like I stuck my head out the window doing something stupid. My glasses flew out. I had no glasses the rest of the weekend. Like it was cool to be at FD, but it was miserable because I couldn't see nothing. And anyway, yeah. So like about that time, I got my first, not my first motorcycle, but I was bored of my first motorcycle. It was a little Ninja 500, whatever. So I got a 2002 GSXR 600 Telefonica. It was like a race replica model, and that thing was bananas, like 180 miles an hour on a Power Commander.
Is that what that picture was next to it?
Next to the FC,
FC?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you've seen that picture, yeah.
I'll post that up here.
Not a great picture of the bike, really. I wish I got better pictures of that thing. I wish I never sold that bike. Try to find one now.
Well, early 2000s, I think everybody just finally had phones that can do more than call people. Like a little bit more. What was that, like Razor phones and all that crap?
Yeah, the flip up Razors, and like you had like the sidekicks and stuff.
That still wasn't a bad photo. You can
tell
what it
is.
is.
You can't see the bike.
I hear what you're saying.
Like you can barely see, but like it had this wicked cool like graphics on the side. It was like all these neon colors with like a blue background. It was just loud and just fast and fun, and that was an awesome bike. The car, of course I toted the car around for like 8 years, not running. I had that car, and then spent like a few years. I went to UTI in Boston. I know. Don't hold that against me. I do have other experience in the automotive industry, so and I do wrench on my own stuff, so that it was helpful. But so I was going there, working at Starbucks and all that stuff, and moved out west in 2008. Carted my bike, carted the RX-7 at the time because that's all I had left. And I was determined I was gonna pull the rotary out. I spent like $3,500 on like a Reman factory motor. Like came in a crate and everything delivered to my house. Dumped all that in. The wiring harness was junk because rotaries are super hot under the hood and everything. And the wiring harness was just crispy. So had some running issues. Carted around for a while. Got a new harness. Something happened to that harness that I couldn't use it with like a badass ECU and Ari and Mia tune and all. Like I ended up not being able to use that setup at all. Yeah, which was devastating at the time. But
I don't think.
Fast forward, I was going to drop a 5-liter Mustang engine in that car. And so I stripped everything, got everything, and then like
I just want this thing to run.
I was like living with my parents and stuff, dude, and like like was like started dating this girl and everything. It was like everything else in the world was more important. So this thing just sat apart, like in pieces. I'm like, God, this car just deserves so much better because it was so clean. So I ended up putting that thing back together and trying so hard to get that car running, and it just never happened. And I ended up having to trade it for a beat 91 Miata because I needed something to drive at the time. And so that was like the one that got away, man. And,
yeah, but it was running. The Miata was running.
Oh, the Miata was running. Like,
okay.
Like I think the passenger side window didn't roll up, and it had this seat in it, which was like way too tall for it, so it actually like rubbed on the top.
Oh, you bought it with that seat?
Dude, this seat was worth more than the whole rest of the car. It was like a janky old
back in the day
Corsa, whatever, Sparko. Yeah.
Back in the day.
Day.
If this was in a Miata now, they'd be like $4 or $5 I know what I got.
Yeah, the whole Miata thing is insane.
All golf balls,
right now, but
missing bumper. Yeah.
The market's crazy. Have I veered off course at all?
No, you're good. You're doing good, man. Like, this is so like Subaru. What was up with?
So Subaru goes back to when I was born. I was brought home in like a Loyal wagon. Black with like this purpling window tint Loyal wagon that my mom was driving. Of course, you're in New England, you need something to be able to go in the snow.
Yeah.
You know, to get around. So a lot of people drove Subarus. They were super common there.
Who was it? Joey Diaz, the Santa.
Oh yeah, very familiar.
He used to work at a Subaru dealership in I think Boulder City, Colorado. He was like,
no kidding.
These are the older cars.
Yeah.
That work in here.
No kidding. No kidding.
It makes
Joey
sense.
Diaz. Oh, I love Joey Diaz. Shout out to Joey Diaz if you see this. What's up, cocksucker? Anyway, so yeah, like, and then, you know, once I got my license, back up a little bit. My dad had a Brat at the time when I was born. And the jump seats in the back, you know, and I used to go wheeling with it with all the Jeep guys and everything. Just loved it. He tells me, he says, you know how those guys are, but your mom made me get rid of it. Because you know, it couldn't stick you in the car seat and the jump seat, and it only had 2 seats. So you know, I'd have kept the car. I'd have figured it out, but I'd have gone in the back seat. I was a baby, but whatever. Yeah. You know, whatever. He got like a Dodge Raider or something like that, so it's still kind of cool. Or Mitsubishi. Yeah, the little like the Suzuki Samurai kind of looking thing. They're like 4-wheel drive, and they're like a little like a Jimny or something.
That was probably way before my time, man.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Early 90s, late 80s, something like that. But they're cool, too. I had one of those. I got a picture of me in one of those. And, yeah, like I said, man, like the Jap thing was never really on the radar. My dad was, like, big into neons and stuff back in the day. You know, neons, whatever. Like, hey.
I can never, like...
The dual cams, they had more horsepower than the Civic EX that year.
Well, no, I'm not denying.
And the LSD.
I'm not denying their capabilities at all, man. I'm just not a neon fan.
No, I feel you.
There's just something about them where I'm like, man, there's so many other cars I would rather get in that class.
I'd drive an SRT4.
Yeah, I mean, again, they're undeniable. Like, yeah. But you know who else actually kind of ingrained, like, screw neons for me, believe it or not? My dad.
Yeah.
You know, I told you why, right?
No.
So my dad has an old, like, early 90s D21 Nissan pickup that he's still driving till this day since I was born. Yeah. With a single cam K in it still. And he was driving this when I was 3 years old. I'm 30 now. So he's been T-boned twice on the driver's side throughout, what was it, 5 years? All by neons. in this town. No, sorry. One was in Burbank, California, and then the rest were here. And he's always just like, I hate neons. So I'm like, oh, I know it's the person, but yeah, screw neons.
Yep. So the neon thing, you know, that's kind of tuner a little bit. Obviously, like Fast and Furious came out. Oh, we also started like watching Initial D back in high school. You know, I remember like sitting in my buddy Greg's little like family yard den, whatever the heck, and just me and my buddies just geeking out to Formula D, you know, subtitles, not being able to understand nothing, and just, you know, hanging out with your buddies like in complete silence. Yeah. But like, I just specifically remember the Akina Speedstars green and charcoal S13. I don't know why I wasn't into S13, you know, whatever, but just that one just stuck with me. And anyway, that's onto that car. But
Yeah.
you know, since then, man, just I don't know. I got the Jap bug, man. I like my Jap cars, and you know, certainly RX-7, and you know, I've had like an '80 Corolla wagon with the quad rounds. Those are super cool, and just 240Zs, and I had like a little Honda N600 at one point, a little Honda Active.
I remember that. Yeah.
Do you remember the 600?
Yep, I do. Yeah.
The little white one?
Yeah.
My dad had that, and then like that Active in, dude, that was super
like you,
cool.
me, and Garrett like literally picked that thing up.
Yeah.
You sold it to Garrett, didn't you?
No. That one, I don't remember what happened to that one, but well, Garrett had his little wagon, his little CVCC wagon, which my dad ended up buying at one point.
But that was his. It wasn't like
Never mind. That was his little race around.
Oh my god, I remember, dude.
With the flames on it, it was gold, dude. He'd leave the windows, or he'd like park at a store somewhere or whatever, leave the windows down, just throw the keys on the dash. Like I couldn't, like nobody wanted that car.
Dude,
he's like, nobody wants this car.
He would show up to Tuner Tuesday, like literally molesting this car, like just jumping up and down the hood, like
we attempted to airbag it one Memorial Day because he had it off, and he's like, dude, I got these like airbags off of some, like one's like seat airbags off of like a Freightliner or something. Let's go bag this thing. Like heck yeah. And we spent like all day trying to bag this thing, fabbing stuff up and everything, and then I don't know, like I don't remember if it worked right or I don't think it did, but like man, like that was a great little car.
Yeah.
And I would.
Well, he's funny too. I haven't seen him in a minute, and it's weird too. Like he would drive this car around, but he has like what 9-second.
Yeah,
like Fox bodies,
like 1,000 horsepower Fox bodies,
his
and
bikes,
stuff. Like,
all of his race cafe bikes. But like, I'm gonna drive this piece of crap on and just beat the crap out of it.
Yeah, he's a cool guy.
Yeah,
man.
no, he is.
He's a cool guy. Cuts hair now. Good, does good work.
Oh, shit, he got me into the SVO.
Yeah.
When he came up to Tuner Tuesday, and I'm like, oh, you got another Fox body? He's like, oh, it's SVO. I'm like, what's an SVO? I'm like, this is a 4-cylinder 4 engine, like, and it's turboed.
Turboed.
Like, what year is it? Like, what year was this made? Yeah.
Heck yeah.
I wouldn't, dude. I honestly wouldn't mind owning one of those things. Just because I'm like, it's just so unique when it is. I'm not a Ford guy by any means. I'm not, but there's some things Ford makes. I'm like, okay. If money wasn't a problem, I wouldn't mind.
I have my preferences. I think we all have our preferences,
yeah.
But and that's why I like Justin, because he's a car guy. He can appreciate, you know, about anything on the road, like myself. And you know, you see a car like. You know, you end up getting a car in a trade or whatever it is, and you just like you instantly going like Need for Speed Underground on it, just like
totally
switching out wheels and dropping it. You know, you're like, all right, so like you know, and again, that's why I like hanging out with you, because you have an appreciation for anything. Yeah. You can see, you got the vision.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I don't know if you guys been like the ones that have been following this channel a lot, like. I really don't hate on anything really. Like, I mean, we all have our preferences, but like, you guys see me do comparisons on like D series, B series, K series. Like, if you have enough money and time and effort and knowledge, you can make anything possible. But like, the more deep dive you go into like, whatever, like transmissions, engines, manufacturers, makes, models, years, like, you will always find something negative in all of that. Like, my approach to everything nowadays is like Arlie Ermy from Full Metal Jacket. Like, you are all equally worthless to a certain extent. But it's like,
you know, you get your, like you said, your preferences, and you know that's why, you know, Subaru, you know, kind of go back to the original conversation. Subaru, or the original question, sorry. It's there. I prefer the single cam 2.2s. Now there's like the open deck and the closed deck versus like, you know, the 2.5s. You know, they end up going all open deck and everything. But anyway, you know, they're non-interference engines. If you blow a belt, like you take the cover off, you take whatever you need to, throw a belt on there. Like, I've literally changed the belt, timed it in the dark on the side of the road, and drove the car away. They're super reliable. Subarus, you know, all-wheel drive, got to stand by that. You can just get in and out of anywhere you want. And then just like, like you said, there's like downfalls to everything, but in my opinion, they're just super trusty.
Yeah.
They're just, especially out here in dry country, Arizona where there's no rust. Like, I've got 30-year-old Subarus that still don't have rust. They're solid as heck. Like,
have you seen all those TikTok videos of, Subarus pulling out like cop cars or trucks or whatever?
I'm one of them who used to pull cars out of Body Beach down in Havasu all the time.
Yeah.
Jet ski in the back of the car.
I remember that. This dude
diesel pickup out of the sand.
This dude put a jet ski in the back of his wagon.
Yeah, it lived
it's
in
awesome.
There. It stunk like a lake, but it just lived in there, and I'd back up into the water and pull the stand up out and rip around for a couple hours after work and then load it back up. It was wagons, man.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, love them. It's the truck without having a truck. I'm not really a truck guy, so
wagon. That's kind of weird, but
I've had trucks.
Yeah.
I had a little B-2200 that I threw some of those air shocks on. I could drop it down.
We've always been one of those dudes too, where it's if you need something towed or whatever, it's kind of you have 10 numbers you can call.
I really need a truck and trailer. Well, I mean, we got a Tahoe now. I could tow stuff with it, but I have spent so much money on tow trucks.
Over the years.
Tickets too, just so the money that I'd have if I didn't spend it on
not here, right?
Not here.
Okay, I was gonna say
all back east.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've never gotten a ticket.
I could record going back east. We used to plaster them up on the wall like wallpaper, dude.
I can imagine, man.
Got out of some good pickles. Paid, like I said, paid my fair share of fines and done my fair share of pulled licenses and whatnot. But I'm not a kid anymore, so
yeah. And you're not there anymore either.
No, that was back in the day when we were trying to outrun the cops and they're chasing us out of parking lots and drifting in the winter and all that crap. So we were running amok. I mean, nothing, all small town
I hear what you're saying.
Stuff,
but in comparison to what's happening these days. Yeah,
there's those takeovers and all that stuff, man. So I don't know. I don't want to jump ahead, but I saw one of your questions was about the car culture.
Yeah.
It's funny. I've just obviously watching YouTube and all that stuff all lately. Watching some videos on car culture. That was one of the questions. What do you think of car culture? And it's all personal. It's all personal preference and whatnot.
It's definitely a wide variety of what it can cover. But I mean, just in general.
In general, there's a lot of cool stuff out. Kind of the modern day, in my opinion, the modern day stuff is just kind of boring. They're not really putting a lot of exciting, Japanese specifically, a lot of exciting stuff out there.
I am talking about that the other day. If you guys that don't know, I am not a fan of the new Integra at all.
U.S. stuff, I mean, it's just a big flopping game, at this point. Who can stuff the most horsepower in something. And that's all well and good, too. There's a market for that, and that's great.
Well, that might be dying, though, too, because it's just all these crazy emission laws that are happening. Not emission laws, but just, the whole...
Safety standards and everything lately.
Safety, emissions, everybody daddy government wants us to go fully electric. It's
that's another one. Again, it's a cool concept. I think it makes sense for some situations, for some people. I have friends that have Teslas. They love them. I've ridden them. It's crazy. It's crazy power.
I have yet to ride one.
It's
I'm sure
crazy,
they're
man.
fun.
I was in a dual motor. It was pretty wild. I haven't been in a Plaid or anything like that, but yeah, dude, they're fast. I mean, to be able to buy a car off the showroom floor, drive it to a drag strip, and get kicked out because you don't have a cage is pretty wild, man. And not make any noise.
Yeah.
it's wild.
All right.
So the electric thing is neat. I actually at one point had a 1969 Datsun 521 pickup. My dad had bought it for parts. He bought it for the windshield. Yeah.
You bought a whole truck for the windshield.
So, something like that. I don't remember what the deal was. Anyway, it was a really cool little truck, fairly solid, had this cool camper shell aluminum thing on the back. It was for I wanted to slam it on the ground and do the whole patina shop truck thing. But where I was going with this is that somebody had started to do an electric conversion to it. And it's like at first it was like, yeah, that's coming out. We're trying to drop a L series in or whatever.
Yeah.
We'll find something. And but then it's like this is a cool concept. And there's companies out in California like EV West. They're doing electric conversions to like say classic cars. So like you drive your GT500 Shelby to them. Like an old one.
Yeah.
And you drive it home, and it's dual motor, Tesla powered, all this whatever. I don't know what they're using or whatever.
Then you're kicked out of the GT500 club.
I mean, whatever.
No, I'm joking.
And that's cool to be able to do. I mean, it's different. It's a really neat concept. The Restomod thing, I'm into that. That's cool. Am I going to go full electric anytime soon or ever in my life? I have no plans. No plans. Will I buy something eventually, or end up with something eventually electric for fun?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's the plan, to kind of try everything and not narrow yourself to anything. But that's going on, the electric thing. As far as the takeovers, just stop it. It's given the car culture a bad name, if you even want to call it that. It's just a bunch of hooligans driving automatic Chargers around, Challengers around in circles, hitting people. I see nothing good coming out of this. It's dangerous and it's stupid, and I mean, this is coming from somebody who's like street raced and all this other crap, like gone and done this crap on the streets, like, and I'm calling that dangerous. Like, you get that kind of group of people in a small area, it's just
especially looking at it from like generation to generation, from like quote unquote street racers up to where it is now. Like, man, there's no way I can, like, there's no relation to it. It's like, man, you guys aren't even really racing, and like, what are you racing? Like, you just bought a car off the lot. Like,
you're just going around
you guys
in circles.
didn't, like, yeah.
I don't understand it. But I mean, again, it's
like,
all personal preference, I suppose. And
well, I mean, like, I guess we could have said that about like drifters back in the day, like, when you drift on the street. But I mean, that's a whole culture in itself, back in Japan. And then the whole Kanjo thing with the Hondas on the the highway and the freeway stuff. But it's like,
it seems to be like in an underground world, and then like we've been to races and stuff together. I mean, there seems to be like
legal races.
Yeah, it was in Mexico. Don't worry.
Yeah.
And we've seen like the street drift and all that stuff and whatever, but there seems to be like an untold, like an unsaid, like a you try to be safe. There's like an effort. Yeah. Most of the time. To try to kind of stay out of harm's way. And you always got those outliers who don't fully use their God-given brains, but for the most part, you don't see a lot of bad stuff happening in those kind of settings,
I was just about to say that, like, especially for like the drift thing. Like, I'm sure people have died rolling off cliffs. You know what I mean? I don't remember ever hearing. I'm not saying it didn't happen,
right?
But I don't ever remember hearing like, oh yeah, the Drift King, back in the day, like he overcorrected and he plowed through a whole bunch of people that just happened to stand on top of a mountain that he's on, or like Kanjo. It's like the worst thing. It's like, oh, they're running away from cops. Now there are some other things I've heard, like gang related stuff that they've done, but it's like, I don't remember the Kanjo Honda dudes ever like hurting or killing people. Like, I'm not saying it didn't happen, but
like maybe if the driver got in a fatal collision, but it wasn't with like public or innocent bystanders, and like a lot of this stuff, like watching a video the other day, somebody's whatever doing their thing in a hanging out of a Challenger or whatever, and hits this guy on a motorcycle and knocks some bikes down, and next thing you know, someone's shooting at him.
Yeah,
like, you could have avoided that if you just wasn't being stupid.
The craziest video I've ever seen was this guy getting taken out by a Charger, just doing burnouts, dude. For whatever reason, didn't have perception worth to save his life, and he got clipped by it. Within 3 seconds of his body hitting the ground, like 3 people swarmed him, straight up punched his face after he's already out. And just like took his wallet, took his cell phone, took everything in his pockets, and just walked away after being clipped by a Charger. I'm like, man, like, is it really going this bad?
It's wild.
Yeah.
I mean, meets are one thing, but like big groups of people with moving cars like that, it spells disaster.
Yeah. Well, like my relation to it all too, like for those of you guys that don't know, like I'm a musician, I'm a metalhead and stuff. It's like
very talented too.
No, I'm alright. It's like metal shows. If you guys like watching our metal, it's like, you know, you see the mosh pits. Like, there's always going to be that one guy that's going to mosh, or if he's a hardcore dude, starts crowd killing that, you know, ends up getting too aggressive. You're going to get a couple people or security, you know, kind of like, hey, relax, you know. If they don't, then they're out of there. I've seen it happen many times. Or you get, you know, 5 people like, hey, chill out. Like, you almost hit my girlfriend or whatever. And most of the times they're like, oh, shoot, sorry. You know, they go from full on rage, you know, listening to music, getting it all out. And then it's like back to the, oh, sorry, okay, didn't mean to do that. Or you see people get taken out or lose their balance in a mosh pit. And it's like instantly 10 guys will help the person up. It's like, man, I don't see this. And like, and even it's been kind of a gradual thing in the car thing where it's just like, man, I remember when it was like, oh, cool, shoot, man, like your car broke, like, let me hit up my homie to come, you know, get a tow strap.
Yeah,
we'll get the Ford Ranger and just tow your car back to town.
That's always how it's been since I was coming
like
up.
Now it's like, oh, that sucks, bro.
And
like, should have bought a Mustang or something stupid.
It's nice now that I do have, you know, a group of good friends that I could call, that I could just be like, hey, man, I'm in a spot. Can you help me out? And, you know, somebody would be there. And that's really cool. But, you know, I would...
or like, oh, you know, or something, if something like, shoot, my battery went out, or this went out. It's just like, cool, here, take my ECU for the weekend while you go race. And it's like nobody ever does that now.
I lent cars to friends, and you know, in a pinch and everything, and like, yeah, like happy to help. You know, don't like, you know, overstay your welcome or whatever. You know,
like, or but, like bring my crap back.
Yeah, like, you know, like maybe vacuum it out afterwards, or you know, that's besides the fact. But yeah, I mean, you know, just gotta, you know, we're a community. We gotta look out for each other. We gotta quit being dumb.
Yeah. And the gatekeeping.
And the gatekeeping, like, I mean, you know, I can't speak too much because like kind of my game is buying and selling cars and stuff. So I mean, as far as like I mean, not even gatekeeping. I mean, that really doesn't have anything.
Well, in the racing world, there is kind of a benefit to that. You know, I mean, obviously,
there is. It kind of keeps the dummies out. Yeah. You know, it does. It kind of keeps it.
Or if you're a grudge racer, you know, you don't want anybody to know your setup. I get that too.
I get that. I mean, there's got to be, you know, in competitive automotive world, there's got to be that edge and whatever. I don't know. I've always been upfront. I mean, honestly, you know, I mean, even when I was like, you know, putting times down in the Miata, like.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's a stock
like in this day,
1.6.
in this day and age,
whatever. What do you want?
In this day and age, it's kind of pointless to be gatekeeping like cars like this. It's like, why? It's like, dude, like no one's like, it's good luck even buying the car, like, and then you're gonna make it even harder for like the community to like learn more. It's like, this is what happens when you go to a junkyard and go like, oh my god, why is there a mint condition 240? Like for like my Accords at my local junkyard, there used to be like 3rd generation Accords like all the time.
I remember them.
And like. One of them in particular, I actually knew the lady who owned it. Cause I told her, I'm like, hey, if you ever decide to part with this car, like, could you please let me know? And I mean, this was like years between me asking her that, and she said yes. I seen it at the junkyard. It was a brown LXI hatchback.
I remember that one.
And I asked her, I'm like, why? Like, what happened to that car? It's like, oh, they were saying the clutch went out.
So you put it in the junkyard?
So she junked the whole car and got it for just the weight in metal.
Oh my god!
Because the clutch was slipping. And I'm like, oh. And of course, I get to it, and it's like all the important stuff I need is gone. But yeah, you know, and that's the unintended consequence I see with like gatekeeping information on certain chassis. Now I get it, like the racing world, but even then, like that's a whole nother ball game of stuff. Like
you gotta put the information out there. You know, the Subaru world, of course, I'm sure you know the Honda world is kind of they're kind of gotta tiptoe through the Honda world.
Dude, my Accord now is going almost like A86 prices, and I never thought I would see the day.
These things are going wild, and you know, it's like I wasn't in the market for an S chassis.
You got lucky.
I got
super
a sweetheart deal.
Lucky.
I got to do some work on it, so you know that's going to be the trade-off. But I got a really nice little deal on this.
Dude, if you got this car for the price you got for it like 5 or 10 years ago, like that's still really good.
Well, and that's kind of been where I've been lucky, is that like even with all this drift tax and gouging, like Jap cars are cool now and all this, I've somehow, of course, knock on some wood somewhere, I've been really lucky to not have to deal with all of that.
Yeah.
And kind of fortunately around here, everybody's into U.S. American stuff.
Yeah.
So, you know,
America. Yeah.
the 70s and 80s, you know, Jap car sitting in the tall weeds in the backyard for the last 20 years is the last thing on their mind. They'd rather the space than have the car. So, you know, I'm getting fortunate here and there.
Or just figure out how to LS swap it.
Well, and that's it. You know, it's somebody's aunt who's like on oxygen now, so she ain't going out to do nothing on the car, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, things like that have come up on deals. I ended up coming up on a right-hand drive Honda Acti in Golden Valley, just sitting in this guy's backyard. I guess he used to import the truck, the 4-wheel drive truck ones, you know, with the bed.
Yeah.
For like, you know, before side-by-sides got hot.
Okay.
So he came into the shop I was working at. We got talking, whatever, and he just told me about this, and I'm like, I don't even think you know what you have.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even sure that we're talking about the same thing, but I got to see it.
Yeah.
So I went out there. As soon as I pulled up and saw this thing, I said, I got to have it. So we made a deal. I ended up trading a 1987 Subaru GL hatchback for a 92 Honda Activan in my town. Like,
I remember that.
That GL was super clean. I took it to Tuner Tuesday the other night.
Oh, I remember that.
Super clean, all there. Like, I drove it home an hour. It was like a 4-speed manual, low, you know, high and low.
Right-hand drive.
No,
like,
it was left-hand drive.
Was it?
The Subaru, the GL. It was a U.S. car. It was an
remember
87. It was the year I was born. So
I'm thinking about the red Honda.
So I only had that a short time, and we traded the Honda for it. The guy just took it straight trade. He wanted me to have that Honda. So yeah,
Okay.
that little Honda van was super cool. 4-speed, air conditioning, had a stereo. Like,
what color was this?
The Honda van.
Yeah.
That it was.
I remember.
Red,
I remember
but
that
it
too.
Faded to pink.
I remember that.
it was faded red. I worked the paint so hard on that, it was starting to go through, and I was like, I can't do nothing else with
Dude,
it.
this is crazy. Like, we're going back down memory lane. Like, you've owned a lot of freaking cars that I'm like forgetting about.
83, Dad, my last apartment had a kind of a deep driveway, and I had like 8 or 9 cars in that driveway at one point. One bedroom, like, it was a garage converted to an apartment.
Yeah, no, I remember that.
Yeah, I had like 8 or 9 cars in that. But at one point, you know, like 2 Miatas, 3 Miatas, a couple of NAs, and an NB. Of course, my Subaru wagon had the Corona, had the Activan, had an 83 Corolla Coupe. Dad ended up trading. He had a 79 Corolla wagon for a hot minute.
Was that
and
when
then he traded it for the coupe?
Is that when Jacko had the SVX? Was it?
Had the SVX, pulled that out of a tow yard, and got that kind of running and stuff. And then Buddy bought that, and then now Joe has it. He's been redoing it. And yeah, man, we find stuff that we like. Of course, we have like automotive ADD. We can't just stick to Subarus or Hondas.
Yeah.
Or, you know.
Oh, I'm capped, dude.
But
yeah, my wife will kill me. She's like, if I'm getting another car, it's like one has to go, and like, yeah, one has to go. I don't know which one.
That was like 3 cars ago for me. I'm surprised I still have a place to live.
Yeah.
I'm surprised my better half hasn't sent me away. But God bless her. She's awesome. She you know, certainly helps make all this happen.
For sure.
But you know, and also, you know, while we're doing shout outs to Dad too, my dad, Joey, he's way cool. He's definitely been my inspiration. He's helped in this automotive journey with me more than he even knows. You know, just as far as, I mean, he's like my go-to parts guy. If I can't find it, he's just he knows the nitty-gritty. Of course, he was around and into this stuff when it all came out.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean,
he was in it.
Like, I remember going to dealerships growing up on Saturday. We'll like wake up Saturday morning and just like hit the road. We'll just go kind of go around to the local dealerships, whether it be car, motorcycle, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Pick up flyers, or not the flyers, the pamphlets, the brochures of like the new models and stuff.
Yeah.
So my dad has like a 3-tier file cabinet, metal file cabinet, just cataloged of brochures.
That's sick.
Back to when he started working at a dealership back in the 70s.
That is, dude, that's crazy. I know. I have finally seen a PDF file, or not a PDF file, but I mean, it basically is like a photo bucket file of a brochure for my Accord.
Nice.
And I'm like, dude, if I can find that in real life, like
I try to collect when I get a car. I try to get one.
Like, I'd spend $100 on that just to have it. Like, dude, when I bought my wife bought the LXI coupe for you guys that don't know for a really good price. When I opened the glove, when I opened the glove box, like it still had like the Accord manual book in the glove box. I was like,
"Hey, you want to hear?
This is awesome."
You want to hear a really cool, lucky story? The postal, the right hand drive wagon that I just picked up. That's a whole nother thing. But it actually came with the factory sticker, the options sticker.
Okay. Yeah.
I have that. It's actually it's magnetized to the side of my refrigerator. I'm trying to flatten it out. Somebody folded it up. Yeah. But yeah, it's got all the options on it. VIN matches and everything. But it highlights the right-hand drive postal option. So again, the car's right-hand drive, but it was a US spec option.
Yeah, it's crazy because I've driven actual like JDM vehicles, and like the one trip about it, at least here in the US, is like how they also switched windshield wipers and turn signals.
Yep.
So when he let me drive it, I was like, okay, I gotta anticipate it. But now I have to like unlearn
the weird thing.
Yeah, it's like the USDM traditional like turn signal windshield wiper.
Yep.
But it's just right-hand drive.
But it's just on the wrong side.
Yeah, I was like, man, I can never win at these things. It's so weird.
And everybody asked me, like, what's it right?
Everything else is fine.
What's it like to drive a right-hand drive car versus left-hand drive? Of course, we're in the States. We drive left-hand here, which we shouldn't. Everything should be right-hand drive. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like with the Honda van, it was that way. The like you said, the turn signal.
Yeah.
And the
windshield wiper. Yeah.
So the windshield wiper. So of course, me. I'm like trying to turn, and I'm the windshield wiper.
Yep, I did the same thing.
So so this one, it's the same. So I mean, it's a lot easier for me to like, because I'll go into my 15 Civic, and then I'll drive the wagon, and then I'll jump in the Tahoe, or of course everything's different shifting. So I'm here on this, and I'm doing.
Oh yeah, you had a way wider.
Yeah. So and of course I have like a car for every day of the week here. So they do all run. Yeah. I don't drive them all, but
same here, kind of.
But no, it's just it's the strangest thing, the hardest thing to get used to is your actual placement in the lane. So you actually have to like
a trip.
You actually have to do like different apexes, or like a different perspective of an apex.
Yeah. Because where the divider is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying, because I'm always usually like, depending on how the road is, I'll usually just hug it. I have a better reference point. But being on right hand, it's kind of like, am I too close? Like, am I going to hit the oncoming traffic right now?
And the part that really stinks with that is like drive-throughs. Of course, everything out here is drive-through. You can go to the corner store and get whatever you need through the drive-through. That's kind of wild. That's kind of a pain in the neck. I don't really do drive-throughs in the right-hand drive. But
you ever just gone reverse in the drive-through? You thought about it, then I was like, this is probably a dumb idea.
I think the only time I did drive-through in the van was with a passenger.
Okay.
I think. I don't recall. I didn't do the reverse thing, though. I know I haven't, because that's just... Have you driven reverse anywhere for a while? But...
I feel awkward with a guy, technically in front of me.
Yeah, you're like looking at the person in front of you, and they're just looking at you. You're like, you are ridiculous. Why? Why are you doing this?
Or you'll get those
making a spectacle.
Or like my favorite, outstanding citizens, like, hey man, you enter the drive-through backwards.
You're backwards. Like, oh.
Or when you have a flat tire and people slow down. Hey, bro, your tire's flat.
It's only on the bottom.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So, I mean, really, if I was forced to, I'd just stop and get out and just walk up to the window. Yeah. But I daily sometimes my right hand, and I have to waive a gate pass to get into work. So that's, you gotta unclip
You got
your
those, like-
seatbelt, and you gotta like make sure you're hitting the brake or put it in park, and then
Oh, you gotta get
over.
You gotta want to get those claw things. Do you pick up trash and just?
Somebody said that, like, get a selfie stick, and I'm like, I'm not gonna do a selfie stick so I can hold my wallet out the window. Like, that's just silly. So I just lean over. It's like, I'm sure people look at me like you're ridiculous, but whatever. I like it.
It's totally worth it, bro. You just don't understand.
It is like to daily
You just don't understand.
drive car. Like, people don't even realize it. Like, I don't know. It's, of course, the car's like kind of beat and nonchalant. I mean, it does have highlighter yellow wheels on it, so it's kind of like, look at me, but yeah, whatever.
We're in Arizona,
they were made for the they were intended to go on the camo car, so whatever.
Yeah. Well, let's see. What like dream car would have you that you've not owned? Would you want now?
See, this is a tough one because, again, I can kind of appreciate everything, and oddly enough, I didn't realize how much I absolutely loved this car until I ended up owning it. S chassis weren't even on the radar for me.
Yeah.
You've
never
even
really
like
mentioned them over the
they're
years.
cool. I can appreciate them, but it wasn't like I was just kind of like never a big Nissan guy. I mean, older stuff, yeah, cool. Like, I'm down with that.
Well, there was a weird time when like
newer
everybody had them.
Nissan stuff is just, I wouldn't give you any.
No.
And again, that's my personal preference. Don't hate me for that.
I mean, the new Z looks cool. I can't do. I can't
Z's
do
are a
the front
different
end
story.
of that thing.
Like, Dad had a 350Z. It was awesome. That was a really nice car. Again, one of those ones you should never let go. Of course, we all have those. But the 70's cool.
Yeah.
Of course, the GTR. Who can deny it?
Yeah.
I mean, there's just, I really can't talk much crap about that car. There's really
No,
not many downsides to that car. But it's also, I don't know about you, but in my world, kind of one of those unattainable cars. I mean, yeah, you can get one that's like
for our price,
older and maybe got some miles on it.
I mean,
like,
they're awesome, but it's like you've said this too. Like when they kind of like were just making a huge scene. It's like, yeah, they are super fast, and it doesn't really take much. I mean, take that with a grain of salt. It doesn't really take much to make those things super fast.
You tune it and throw a tire on it and
Change the
learn
fuel.
your launch control, and
Yeah.
you're doing close to 10-second quarters.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. There's just nothing about that. I mean, don't get me wrong. If I had the opportunity to own one, I wouldn't complain.
Who wouldn't? Yeah.
But it's just like, I just feel like,
You just write a check to go fast. That's my feeling. And again,
exactly.
No shame,
And
no hate to anybody who owns GTRs. Like, no
No,
hate.
I wouldn't complain either.
And in fact, so where I was going with that was like the S13 in the seafoam gray. Like, I would absolutely love to hang on to this car forever.
Yeah.
If we're gonna be honest, I would
growing on
love
you?
to. It would just, it's low miles. It's all there. It's clean enough. I can pick away at it over time and make it super clean. Great. Am I willing to commit a permanent spot in the garage to this specific car right now? I'm running out of room. I've got 6 cars right now. I've got to get rid of at least the Civic and probably this. This was intentionally bought as a flipper. And right now, kind of, again, I'm in the business of making money and flipping cars. So S chassis right now are super hot. It's kind of one of those like investment things where I would love to keep this car forever, but in order to further my business, my life, help my family, it's really part of the smarter thing to sell it and kind of maybe turn that into a couple more cars and keep the channel going, keep my
maybe have the
going.
opportunity to get it again.
Maybe
depending
at some
where the
point,
money's at,
maybe I can import one, or but specifically if I'm going to go for an S chassis, I want the coupe, I want the seafoam 2-tone, I want the 13.
Yeah.
So it kind of sucks. Like, I
you've
have
already
the car,
obtained
I have
it.
the car,
Yeah.
and I'm in it the right money. You know what I mean?
Well, who knows? Maybe things will change. You don't know.
Hey,
you don't
who
know.
knows? Who knows?
If he does plan on listing this for sale, I will do like a for sale notice on this channel.
Yeah,
for you guys.
Yeah,
So.
that'd be cool.
89,000 miles.
89,000 miles, all original Arizona car, no rust.
Single cam KA24.
Single cam. I'm trying to put it back to as nice in condition.
And pig nose bumper. Gee, I know it's not on now.
Pig nose. Yeah,
Pig nose. If any of you guys
sorry.
are fans of that design.
8990 they did the pig nose, which seems to be the more desirable, and it's the notch or the coupe, so it's not the hatchback. So, in my opinion, is
I like the
better.
coupe. I like the coupe better than the hatch. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the. Well, it's funny now to say the Charger style lights, but now I should just call them the 240 style lights on the Charger.
Yeah. I do. That's what, like Rocket Bunny. They do like that Hako front end or whatever it's
With
called.
that Challenger front end, kind
Yeah,
of.
okay.
Yeah.
Are they Challenger front ends? Or they just kind of they
I
resemble?
think it was supposed to be like a Challenger or like the Camaro, like the old school like
they're
70s Camaro.
They're neat, it's different. Again, I like kind of the classic, 60s and 70s stuff. So that does kind of bring it into the S chassis. So that's neat. But to ultimately answer your question, I'd break the bank for an R32. GTRs are pretty hot. I would turn a GTR down, dude. Like, obviously.
Oh, I think they're going for at least.
I'm thinking like GTST maybe. Like, because I do.
Dream car, man. If
like,
money wasn't an issue, like you're going for that GTR, man.
I know, but like, I don't know. That's kind of I like the R32s.
No, same here. I like the R32.
When I had that red FC, I did kind of come into a situation where a guy had contemplated trading me an R33. I would have been down for that. Yeah. I would have loved to have made that happen, even though I really loved my FC. That would have been sick.
R33 grew on me over the years. I never liked the R33 over the 32.
Yeah, it was kind of like the low key, like everybody liked the 3 or the 2 or the 4.
Well, Fast and Furious like the 4.
Again, like an R34 GTR is sick.
Oh, absolutely.
Who wouldn't? But they're kind of the Mark IV Supra. Again, Mark IV Supra. I've driven them. I've had friends with them. I've helped paint them. Like, they're sick.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's just kind of not me.
I hear you. The only reason why I would pick a Mark IV Supra over any of the Skylines mostly is just because it's like domestic, just parts availability.
Yeah.
Because I actually was friends with a dude here that was professional drifter. No, not like Mad Mike status or nothing like that.
Kyle.
No.
Okay.
Or actually, it might have been Kyle actually.
With the 33 four-door?
The red 33 4-door. Yeah. He
32. It was a 2.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've got pictures of that with the K-Man, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He moved to Japan because he works for Zestino Tires.
Zestino Tires, yeah.
And dude, he was telling me, because I asked him, I'm like, dude, it's so cool you own a Skyline in this town. He's like, thanks, man, but it kind of sucks. Because he was telling simple stuff. He took it from here to LA, and then something like hose blew off or water pump took a crap in the middle of the freeway. And
where do you find?
Yeah, it's like, where do you find it? No one. It's like you have to wait a month or two for.
They didn't even have RBs, I don't believe, in the States, right?
No.
So you can't just pull up anywhere.
I think the only people that had RBs were like I know Australia was the one because they put those in. They put RB. Oh God, what was it?
Like RB20s.
They did put an RB engine in a not Nissan vehicle in Australia. I can't think of it. It might have been one of those Utes.
Maybe.
Like a Holden or something like that.
Okay. Well,
I remember hearing something weird like that. I know
Holden would have been GM.
Yeah. But there still was some like, you guys will probably correct me in the comments or whatever, but yeah, there was an RB put into something in Australia that wasn't a Nissan. I'm not sure.
But not in the States.
No,
is what we're getting at. So you can't just like call up Checkers or I mean, what do you?
Well, think
them?
about it now
like
too.
Anywhere and just be like, yo, I need a water pump for an RB.
And even if there was,
whatever.
and I'm sure there are, even if there were shops that literally specialize in Skylines, parts and stuff, it's like, dude,
they're in SoCal somewhere or whatever, you know.
But look at the shipping crisis. It's like they can't control that.
It'd be cheaper and more efficient to like have somebody jump in a car and drive it to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
or like, have some North American aftermarket company to where,
That's funny. I was thinking
I
about
don't know.
that the other day.
I don't know too much about Skylines and RVs.
I've been watching some channels about guys who import cars and all that, and like these guys are cool because they're the importers. They just give their buddy a call back in Japan and they're like, yo, my intercooler pipe blew, I need another one, and they just come up with one for you.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, the options aftermarket now, dude, there's so many like custom options, especially with like 3D printing and all that other stuff now. It's kind of like, I don't think it's not nearly as big as a problem today as it was like 10, 20 years ago.
Man.
So
yeah, if you haven't thought about 3D printing, I am certainly seeing the benefits of owning one.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, what you pay like $4 or $5, $6, maybe $10 for a design that you just plug in. I was looking for boot covers for these, and I was seeing somebody on Etsy's printing them, $20 for a pair. I'm like,
yeah,
cool. I mean, you could probably make
and
them
that
for
material,
less than that, but like, I'm not gonna buy a 3D printer just so I can print dust boots for S13s, but I can also print other things for my other vehicles and just stuff around the shop and whatever. So yeah, definitely that's going to be one.
That's a smart idea, man. I actually really considered it, but
the new tools for the shop, I really do think.
Yeah.
Riley's already got one, and he's
I know that.
He's printing out stuff that like
he
just never really thought of.
Dude, that guy's a mad scientist.
Yeah. If you can print it or machine it, that's all him. Mm-hmm. Yeah, good friend to have for sure. For sure.
Well, shoot, man, let's close this out with.
Do you get all your questions?
I think so.
I got your sheet over there.
Oh, do I? That's a dumb question.
What was it?
Dream build. So, money, zero issue. Availability, zero issue. What would be like your dream build? Like, for example, like if you had the perfect Miata with this body kit on it with rotary swapped or something of that nature.
Perfect build,
or an NB Miata with an RX-7 rear end or something crazy.
You know what? That's an interesting question, and I don't know about perfect build. Maybe my preferences or whatever, off kilter, not popular opinion, but I had this idea maybe a couple years ago to just buy a bunch of NA Miatas, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Wrecked. I don't care. But because I don't know if you've ever seen, you can literally take an NA Miata and like basically take all the components separate from the body and have a chassis running gear.
Okay. Yeah.
So what I was thinking, kind of going along the Resto Mod idea, is just like NA Miata swapping everything. So like I had that 1969 521 Datsun pickup, right?
I see where you're going with this. Okay.
It's rear-wheel drive, disc all around. It's a modern. You can pop by Pet Boys or AutoZone or whatever and get a water pump for a 1.6 Miata. There's turbo kits for them. There's supercharger kits for them. There are McPherson struts, so you can do coilovers.
Like aftermarket support.
Air conditioning. Power steering, like I said.
It's almost like a kit car kind of.
Basically, you just dump whatever body you want. Obviously you got to graft it all together and stuff.
Yeah.
Have like a drive shaft made. But say, old Corollas, old Datsuns, my old Toyota. Do something like that with the Corona, little Corona coupe like I've got. All the it's what, 100 horsepower? I mean, really,
on a good day.
I mean,
yeah.
I know of a guy doing Texas 10K or 2K or whatever it is.
2K, yeah.
In a Miata, on a 1.8 or a 1.6 block, doing 10-second passes and stuff. So I'm like, if you're gonna do a retro mod car, say I wanted to autocross a Corona, I'm not gonna do that with the Leaf springs and a carbureted
with archaic suspension.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
if I was able to get it into this era with coilovers and sway bars and fuel injection and a nice 5-speed manual gearbox, close ratio and LSD.
Just having, yeah. I see what you're
I can
saying.
whip that thing around a course really nicely. It's got to be like a smaller chassis, like I said, kind of the Corollas and the Coronas and the smaller chassis vehicles. But I'm not throwing 1,000 horsepower at this dream car or whatever. But I think something like that, like a retro mod, would be really neat.
I never would have thought about that. That's interesting.
Also, had a buddy that didn't quite complete the job, but a J35 or J32 Miata.
Oh, Jacko. Yeah.
A J series engine is 9 pounds heavier than a stock 1.8. So your power to weight ratio has just like tripled.
Yeah.
Because you're going from 100 horsepower to like tuned out close to 300 horse on a stock J series.
Yeah.
And that's without forced induction. That's without.
It's like more than double the amount of power.
Yeah, you're almost
for
tripling
9
your
pounds.
horsepower, keeping the same ratio. Your same weight, your same, as far as your balance and everything.
Again, J series is a proven engine.
Again,
too.
It's not 1,000 horsepower Fox body or S chassis or whatever, But the third thing I've always kind of been thinking of is a full, like a STI 257 all-wheel drive built late model Corvair. Rear engine, flat, like a Corvair, but all-wheel drive and coilovers, sway bars, viscous LSD. That would be cool. That would be neat. That would be a really cool street car, autocross car.
It'd be a really different car.
Yeah.
I think the only I think I told you this before, the craziest like built totally not the way it was from factory Corvair was that Matt's Off-Road Rescue.
That is cool. I have seen that.
Yeah, he recovers people in that thing.
Yep.
Like, it's crazy.
The Lakewood wagon, if I believe. Correctly.
I think so.
It was like a 60 or a 61 Lakewood. My dad actually had one in a mint green. That was a really cool little Lakewood wagon. Yep. That was really neat. Grew up in Corvair, man.
That's
I
crazy.
always have a special place in my heart. I don't care what Nader says. Unsafe at any speed, whatever.
Yeah.
I know, did you die? No.
Yeah, YOLO.
I'm still here.
All right. What piece of advice would you give yourself if you met your younger self prior to getting into all of this?
Don't sell the RX-7. Or the Telefonica. No, man. Honestly, for me personally, so I was blessed to have had my education after high school paid for me. That it was a fund that was given, that was started for me, and it was to be used for one of three things: a wedding, school, or down payment on a house. In hindsight, and I'm not slighting UTI, I did learn a lot of valuable information. I had a really great experience. If you don't know anything about automotive, it's certainly something to look into. I don't know what they're charging. I think it's fairly expensive these days. I got in when it wasn't as expensive, but in doing that, kind of afterwards is when I really started just working on my own car and helping friends and flipping cars and working at dealerships and things like that. I probably would have still had those experiences and gained that experience even if I didn't go to school. So again, the school did kind of prep me to know the correct way to work on cars or to wrench.
Buy a book.
Yeah, but again, kind of wrenching with my buddies and all that, I probably would have eventually by now learned what I know now without the school.
Gotcha.
So I would have probably, if I know what I know now, I would have probably tried to invest that into like becoming an importer early on, because that's really like when importing cars kind of started taking off. So taking, we'll say $20,000-$30,000, going over to Japan, kind of making some connections and getting into that world early, I could have very feasibly built a very comfortable business, having known what I know now and what the market did and everything.
Yeah.
I would have definitely picked up a couple of different cars then that were very cheap. Sorry, and I would have held on to a few of the cars. A 72 240Z that was ended up doing some lineage on the car. Ended up being a pace car in California, and it was kind of painted the BRE colors.
Okay.
Ended up, getting rid of that, and just kind of we didn't appreciate at the time what they were. We were just kind of like something else caught our eye, and just kind of on to the next one, or like needed a little more work than we were like really capable of at the time, or whatever.
Well, my dad sold what he sold to get the D21 pickup.
No, what'd he sell?
Freaking MK2 Supra. Yeah. And that's why I love like AE86s, like that design hatchback. And I'm like, why? He's like, I needed a utility vehicle. I'm like, you had a hatchback.
Well, and maybe that's part of it, Justin, is like I would have moved out west here and just bought a building, just a big warehouse.
Just prep it. Yeah.
And been able to not have to do the flip game, but like, hey, 1980 Corolla wagon, stick it in the back. 92 like unmolested, super nice Civic sedan, stick it in the back. Yeah. Hang on to it for 20 years.
Put it in a shipping container or something.
And just cover, just leave it all there, and then come back to it and finish building it or, whatever. And, it sounds bad. It kind of weird to say, bad to say, whatever. But like now that these cars are hot, back then I'm like getting rid of cars for like $1,000.
You've been seeing,
trading them for like
what's that
piles, dude. And
what's that? Losing my train of thought here. The bidding thing for like something Barrett.
Oh, Barrett Jackson.
Yeah, that Integra Type R or Integra GSR or something like that. Sold for like $50,000.
Just put cars away out of the weather and just, pick away at them and make them like.
Yeah. Dude, I think there was a Blazer on there. Like an old Blazer that went for like 30 or 40 grand.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is going on?
Yep.
This is insane.
Yep, Barrett Jackson's wild. And actually, my dad got to go maybe 10 years ago in Scottsdale over to Barrett Jackson. And, he's telling me, he's like, yeah, you're just walking by rows and rows of like $100,000 Corvettes. But you're just looking over them because there's 60 of them. You just become desensitized to these awesome cars, these awesome builds.
Yeah. I'm kind of slowly approaching that. I kind of already have on certain things. It kind of sucks, but at the same time, it's like, it kind of feels rewarding in a weird way that I'm at this point now where it's like, you can show me your crazy whatever build, and I'm just like,
yeah. I've seen them before.
Yeah.
I
mean, don't get me wrong. I'll give you all the credit for the time and effort you did into it because I couldn't do half the work that most people put in that. But then there's just some out of the blue that I'm like, whoa. Like the longer you look at it, it's just like the more you're like, whoa, that's crazy.
Yep.
Very, like, I can count on my hand how many times it's happened to me in like the past 5 years. I think it sucks, but it is what it is.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know, as far as advice, I was single for a long time, so I think I would, again, knowing what I know now, I'd like set myself up with a small piece of land and like a nice little fifth wheel or something like that, and just live cheap and have a building with all my treasures.
Have your castle built.
Have my well, I mean, I don't know. I'm simple, man. If it's just
you know what I mean.
I got a family now. Bought a house and got all that going, and that's cool. Like,
but I mean, you have a foundation. If anybody you don't have to worry about your landlord.
I would have invested.
You know what I mean?
I would have invested. Taken that good chunk of change and invested that then when things are a lot, buy a handful of shipping containers for $1,500 a piece instead of $7,000 a piece now, and just loading them with cars.
Yeah.
And when I'm not storing cars, now I have, like, I could build into a shop or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, but I would have bought those shipping containers.
Yeah, and either
back
way,
then, and
either way, you would have like a retirement plan, regardless.
yep, I would have set myself up a little more, so I don't have to work as hard later in life. But working on that now.
Yeah.
So
It ain't
that's all
too
we
late.
can do, and just work hard and do all this, of course, after a full-time job and doing family thing and all that. So
Yeah.
it's crazy. This last few years has been quite a wild ride, especially coming from. Man, I was at a point where I had nothing. I was down and low and not in great shape.
Hey man,
And
we've all been there.
the last few years have just been literally just like this, dude. Just up, and I haven't reached the top yet. So
Hell yeah.
yep.
Hell yeah.
So it's all in hindsight.
Well, we're good. We'll end on a positive note then.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Happy to be able to do this and deal with these cars, own these cars, man. And that's sorry, not to cut.
No,
you
you're
off,
good.
not
You're
to-
good. Keep
not to
going. I
go-
don't
Not
care.
to go longer, but like that's my biggest thing is like I have the opportunity to own these cars, and they might not stick around forever. I might not, just add them to the collection, even though I would absolutely love to add most of them, just hang on to them forever.
Live your Gran Turismo dream.
Yeah, absolutely. Have that Gran Turismo garage. But at least in this, game I'm playing or whatever, I get to own these cars. I get to mess with them. I get to, take my pictures and, now what I'm doing is I got a guy who does renderings.
Oh,
I'll
nice.
send him
Okay.
a picture of something.
Like a
and he'll-
cartoonish.
Yeah,
kinda,
he'll
okay.
kind of cartoon it and everything. So that's really cool. And that'll I'll put those in a scrapbook and just kind of document the vehicles that I've owned.
Right.
And maybe not the, 03 Altima that I picked up to flip or, whatever.
Yeah.
But like,
We ain't
cool
talking about
stuff.
that.
Yeah. Hey. But
I got those cars too, man.
yeah. I mean, hey, my daughter's first car I was gonna put her in the right-hand drive wagon, and she's like, "I don't know about that.
No.
Like, I don't know that I want to drive right-hand drive first." I'm like, you'll be the coolest kid in the parking lot. I mean, if I was looking at it, she would be. But
I see where you're getting at, but at the same time, it's like she should probably learn on something that's more common.
yeah, I'm gonna get her a bumper car.
Like it even sucks too to think that like I want all my kids to like learn how to drive stick. I'm gonna have them learn first in automatic because it's like stick's pretty much dead.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's like they're gonna live a life where it's like
They're gonna know.
I mean, shoot, they might not even be driving. They're just gonna sit in the car and it's gonna drive them to wherever they're going.
Yeah, like
you know?
what was that AI or whatever the heck movie that was? Oh, Minority Report.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one. I'm not ready for that world.
No, me neither.
Nah, I'll be on the bottom.
Yeah, me too.
With my little, we'll be putting corn oil in our cars and stuff.
What was that Will Smith iRobot or whatever? That chick's like, wait a minute, does this bike have gasoline? Does it run off gas? It's all freaking out. Like, oh yeah, what do you think's gonna be running on?
I'm not ready for that.
No, I'm not either.
I'm holding strong.
Yeah. We're gonna be those grumpy old dudes, just like, back in my day.
Back in my day,
Like,
you had to siphon out a gas can.
You guys knew nothing of VTEC.
Yeah, the old homage of, what does an engine need to, or what does an internal combustion engine need to run? Air, fuel, spark. You know what I mean? That's gonna be not a thing.
Yeah, it's gonna be in a museum, and all these kids are gonna be like, "Oh, the heck!"
It makes fire inside and it burns stuff.
Man, they shoveled.
That's bad for the
They
environment.
shoveled coal in a train and a locomotive. That's insane.
Wild. Yeah.
Well, end it.
Yeah.
All right. So, what's your YouTube called?
Smiley Speed. Smiley Speed.
Smiley Speed.
I just made it the other day,
social
sorry.
medias.
Social media, Smiley Speed, the real Smiley Speed. I think
On
Instagram.
Give them a follow. I'll leave links down in the description below. I know this is like first time I've been doing this on this channel, so hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Just sitting down being people. I'm not wrenching myself for once. But thank you guys for watching, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Thanks, guys.